Welcome to the Conscious Millionaire Show, episode number 1908.
Hi, this is Hale Dwoskin, author of the Sedona Method. And on today's show, I will discuss how happiness is free and it's easier than you think.
Welcome to Conscious Millionaire, the #1 show for conscious entrepreneurs and CEOs on a mission to build a highly profitable business that makes a positive impact. On each episode, discover how to make bigger money, create a bigger impact, and live a bigger life. You're listening to the Conscious Millionaire Network, heard by over 12 million listeners in 190 countries. Now, join your host, JV Crum III, the Conscious Millionaire Mentor, Master NLP Coach, speaker, and author of the #1 international bestseller, Conscious Millionaire, Grow Your Business by Making a Difference.
Hi, this is JV, and I am excited that you've joined me. And as you know, this isn't just a podcast or syndicated radio show. It's a real entrepreneurial training for you to help you build your business, take your purpose, turn it into a big vision, and turn that vision into impact and profit. Help me welcome our featured guest. He is the New York Times bestselling author of the Sedona Method and the new release of Happiness is Free. Hale is one of the featured teachers of the book and the movie phenomenon, The Secret, and now the new book, The Greatest Secret. He's also featured in the movie Letting Go. My guest today, Hale Dwoskin. Hale, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm excited you're here. I've had a number of people on from The Secret, and I have to confess, folks, I've probably seen The Secret 20 or 30 times. I own the DVD. But, each time, it's like every time I just kind of need an uplifting, I'll go, just watch it tonight. Right?
Right.
There's always some new nugget or different essence in
Definitely, yes.
And Jack Canfield and I know each other fairly well. He's been on the show several times, and I know that a lot of people for The Secret came out of Jack Canfield. But how did you get involved with The Secret? It's a story I don't know.
Well, actually, I can tell you how The Secret came into being.
Let's go for it.
Well, Rhonda came as a guest to an organization that Jack and I and
the Transformational Leadership Council.
Yes, she came to as a guest to the Transformational Leadership Council, and she said, "Hey, I'm doing a movie, and I want to interview some of you." And so basically, we took turns going to a room with Rhonda and her director and a camera person, and we were recorded. And then she basically cobbled that together into the movie The Secret. There was no script. There was nothing was predetermined. It was all spontaneous on the part of everyone in the movie. And even how the movie was put together, that was all done after the fact. She took all this material and she put it together into what we now know as the movie The Secret. And I only have a small piece of the movie because we spent an hour and a half talking, and she was more interested in talking about the Sedona Method than she was in talking about The Secret or the Law of Attraction. And at the very end, she said, "Oh, we need to, if you want to be in the movie, we need to talk about the Law of Attraction." So I said, "Well, how about this?" And we talked about how in life, most of the time we are against the things we don't want. And we forget that it's more powerful to be for what you do want.
Right, I remember that. Yep.
And she built a whole segment around that. And she picked out things from the other teachers that would fill that into a whole segment of the movie. But I'm just 30 seconds because the law of attraction is such a small part of what we teach. We teach how to bring that, how to get yourself out of the way, as opposed to just how to hold in mind what you want. We teach that, but it's only a small piece of what we teach. There's so many people who teach that. We didn't figure people needed to know that. We figured they needed to know why it's not working when it's not.
But it became the whole core of the movie. What I love about your work, and of course I've been familiar with it for years, is that is the story that you and I were discussing about how you turned the Sedona method into making your first million. And could you share that with us?
Sure. What happened is the Sedona method originally was put out by my mentor and friend, Lester Levinson. And so there was a predecessor organization that I actually worked for about 7 years as a full-time volunteer, because I was already successful, not a millionaire, but successful enough that I could help him. And after he died, I had been given all the copyrights because he wanted me to continue getting his work out to the world. So I started a for-profit company because it felt more integrous to me. And I don't remember how long it took. I think there was about a year where I kind of just ran it the way the old organization ran. And then we decided to try doing direct mail. And we did. And this is early on in direct mail when it was still very, very effective. In fact, I think we had something like a 5% conversion ratio.
No, that was quite high.
That's ridiculous. So it didn't take us, I think it took us less than a year to reach our first million once we started seriously marketing it. And so that's how I ended up making my first million, marketing the Sedona method to interested people in similar organizations. And it was funny because the success was so huge so quickly. This is years ago, so we were still running credit cards manually, and we were all excited about going to the mailbox to get the
orders,
the orders that were coming in. I'd sometimes come in with a stack of orders, 3, 4, 5 inches thick, of these little envelopes that were included in the direct mail piece.
And so I'm curious, because I know if you're listening, you're probably asking the same question. What was the typical price point of what you were converting people to? And then, because people want to know, well, how many times did he have to sell this?
I think it was $200.
Okay.
At the time.
It's like the $197.
Yeah, something like that. It was about $200. And so I should do the math. 200, it doesn't matter. It was a lot of sales.
Yes. It was a lot of sales. So congratulations on that. I'm curious about, you've got a re-release of your book, Happiness is Free, and it's easier than you think. Let's talk about happiness, because
sure.
I know if you're listening and you're an entrepreneur, you're a coach, you're a business owner, you want to be happy. And it took me a lot of my own journey to find happiness, and I want to hear it from you, actually, because happiness is not about the things that most of us originally think it's about.
No, most of us are shocked when we start tapping into the true source of happiness, that it has nothing to do with people, it has nothing to do with success, it has nothing to do with vocation, it has nothing to do with actually anything external. We get confused. We think that happiness comes from the things that we're doing or having or being. But when you look inside, you'll notice that
when you said that, Hal, what came up was we have to go get our happiness and bring it.
Yes, we think we have to get it. And because we're clutching at it all the time, we start to feel happiness, but we're so busy, we're so addicted to seeking more, more happiness, more stuff, more success, that when we start to feel happiness, we go, oh, that's nice. And then we kind of plow right through it to our next goal or the next thing that we think it's really important to go for. And in the process, we don't recognize that feeling just came from inside of us. And we sometimes believe that happiness is because we just made a big deal, or because someone just told us they loved us, or because we're no longer suffering from some pain or some illness.
is that just because our mind is set up to think that happiness has to be linked to something outside of us, that we're actually looking for it?
Well, yes. What we've been programmed to believe, unless we change or improve our circumstances in life, we can't be happy. And that once we get the goals that we have, we will be happy. And we ignore the fact that often we get the goal and the happiness we get from it is very fleeting. And sometimes we're shocked at how imagining getting the goal was brought more happiness than getting the goal itself.
So if the Lamborghini or the bigger house or the better looking date or the nicer suit or dress or whatever it is, or the more expensive vacation isn't really going to give us happiness, what will?
Well, what gives us happiness is learning how to quiet our minds. When our minds are busy, it's covering over our natural happiness. And as you let go of the stress, the tension, the anxiety, the things that keep your mind busy, the worry, as your mind quiets, you naturally feel happier. The reason that we feel happy when we get a goal is because temporarily our mind doesn't have to think about it. All the thoughts and the feelings and the desire that was built up in getting the goal, which actually prevents us from feeling the happiness that's right within us, temporarily that subsides, and then the happiness that is right within us starts shining.
That's already
forth.
there.
Exactly.
It's already there.
And the key is you don't have to give up any of the toys. But what you can do is bring happiness to relationships, bring happiness to your business dealings, bring happiness to, what if you're happy even before you get into your Lamborghini? Imagine how much more you'll enjoy it.
Well, it's interesting because a good while back, when I was first reading Wayne Dyer.
Yes.
And this was at a time that I'd, just become a millionaire and liked to go to fancy parties and stuff like that.
Sure.
So I coined this phrase, and I think it's relative to what you're talking about. I said the trick is riding in the limousine, because I was into like showing up at a limousine, right? Riding in the limousine without being attached to the limousine. And now if we kind of shift that a little bit on happiness, the trick, as it were, is being connected to happiness without thinking you had to do something to be happy.
Exactly. But also non-attachment is a key.
Yes.
The reason that the happiness is fleeting when we get something in life is we immediately get attached to it. We go, oh, I have to keep this now, otherwise I'm going to lose my happiness. And we grip it and we squeeze the happiness out of it. We spend more time defending it, justifying it, explaining it, hoping we don't lose it. So we can't fully enjoy it. And that's all based on attachment. So when you allow yourself to have success come to you however it does, but know that success comes and goes. The most successful people in life are the ones that know that sometimes you succeed at what you're doing and sometimes you don't. And you don't fight the times you don't. You learn from them.
Right.
And you don't get attached to the times. If you let go of your attachment to the times that you are successful, they tend to expand. They tend to last longer.
So
non-attachment
happiness is
key.
free. Hale, let's give, before we go to break, let's give some steps of how someone can become aware of or connect with the happiness that's already there inside of them.
Well, think of one of the things you can do is think of the times you've been the happiest, and then focus not on the memory, but how it makes you feel. And then just check. You can ask yourself, is the happiness coming from the memory, or is it coming from inside myself? And then, so every time you do that, you'll start to see that the happiness is coming from inside of you. The next thing you can do is, if it's coming from inside of me, maybe what I can do is call it up when I feel like I'd like to be happier. So you can actually invite that happiness that's already right within you into your experience in this moment. And the more you do that, the easier it gets.
Well, if you tuned in today, you're in for a very big treat, because when we come back from the break, Hale is going to give you a 24-hour challenge that's going to help you specifically get connected to your happiness. And I can tell you that happiness, when I think of three positive emotions, I think of happiness, joy, and love. I think they're all related.
They are.
Yeah. And so stay tuned, because we're going to come back and Hale's going to give you a specific exercise to connect with happiness. Are you an entrepreneur coach that's just tired of feeling stuck, or looking at your bank account and it just looks way too empty? Not making enough money? Well, the truth is you were born to make millions. And I want to help you fill your bank account by gifting you my Born to Make Millions Empowerment Audio. People just like you all over the world are listening to this audio daily. Ready to achieve lasting financial freedom? Right now, I want you to imagine an endless supply of customers eager to buy from you. How would that change your life and business? And because you're listening to the Conscious Millionaire Show, today I'm giving you this audio as my gift. Get Born to Make Millions audio right now. Go to consciousmillionaire.com/make millions. That's consciousmillionaire.com/make millions. It's time for you to claim financial freedom for yourself. Go to consciousmillionaire.com/make millions. Welcome back. I'm JV Crum III, host of the Conscious Millionaire Show, and I'm here with our featured guest, Hale Dwoskin. He is the author of the Sedona Method and the new release of Happiness is Free. You probably know him as one of the stars of the movie The Secret. And now it's time for the 24-hour challenge, and Hale is going to give you a specific technique to get connected to your deeper happiness.
So in this moment, and by the way, I would do this throughout the day, just allow yourself to stop and open to happiness to the happiness that's already right within you. Now, at first, this may seem hard to do. Your mind may tell you can't just open to happiness. You have to change something for you to find happiness. But if you just start focusing on happiness, you focus on happiness directly as opposed to how you're going to get it, you'll discover that it starts filling you from the inside out. And the more you do that, the easier it gets. So just spend the next 24 hours giving the mind, what the mind generally does is it focuses on what's wrong, what needs to be fixed, and why is the world the way it is, and a host of other things like that, and on the next task. But if you allow yourself to just simply welcome up from inside of you happiness. And by the way, if you can use these synonyms, happiness, joy, love, peace, stillness, whichever one you relate to. Happiness is an umbrella for all of those. So if you just welcome that up from within you, you'll discover you'll start to feel it. And as you do that, as you keep doing that, you'll discover you can take happiness into the places you thought you had to go to get it. And that changes your experience radically.
You know, I can say that this is going to be one of those interviews that you're going to want to hear a second time. So I want to be sure you know how to do that. Go to consciousmillionaireshow.com. Just scroll down to today's episode. Happiness is free and it's easier than you think. Click on that. It'll take you to the show notes and to our player. But even more so, go ahead and sign up. It's absolutely free on iTunes, on Stitcher, or any place that you want. We've got iTunes and Stitcher links on the website on ConsciousMillionaireShow.com so that you get every episode of Conscious Millionaire. I want to take this moment to thank you for showing up. Not for JV, not for Hale, for yourself. To take one more step in turning your purpose into a highly profitable business, because that's what we're here to do, help you every step of the way. I especially want to reach out and, of course, thank all our fans and friends in Sedona, Arizona, and New York, New York. And now it's time for the Conscious Millionaire questions. I want to start with mindset. What is the mindset that you've developed? You're a great, not just a transformational leader, but you're a great entrepreneur as well. The mindset that helps you discover your best business opportunities.
Oh, that's easy. What I've discovered is that anything is possible when you get yourself out of the way. Generally, we are our biggest obstacle to success. All our beliefs about how we failed in the past, or our beliefs that success has to be a particular way. But when you are open at least to the possibility that anything is possible, when you just let go and get yourself out of the way, I've seen miracles happen over and over and over.
Well, Hale, I have to follow up on that, because I know if you're listening, you might be asking the same question probably everybody is. What's your number one technique or strategy for getting out of the way?
Oh, that's simple. Just deciding to let go of whatever is holding me back.
So that could be fear, that could be anxiety, that could be a lot
anger,
of emotion.
it could be frustration. You can actually decide to let go of any emotion because it isn't who you are. It's not attached to you. And when you choose to let it go, you discover you can do this naturally. In fact, young children do this naturally. If you've ever watched a young child fall down and then look around to see if they need to be upset, and if they don't catch anybody's eye, they just let go of the upset. But if they catch someone's eye, oh no, and they get a little attention and they're fine again. We've, as adults, have forgotten that we can do this naturally.
That we have a choice.
That's right. We've forgotten we have a choice, and we've forgotten that it's natural to let go of the stress, the tension, the anxiety. We think we need to hold on to it and get rid of it and work at it.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be work.
Right. Yes. Grind it to death.
Exactly. And that only makes you feel more miserable.
It does, absolutely. And I'm saying that, folks. I'm sharing that I've done that. I think we've all done that. And today we're talking about let's not do that anymore. What's a strategy that you could share? I mean, you've made millions of dollars. You're very successful, and you have a powerful message. That's what I love about what you're doing. Is that so Conscious Millionaire is to get a message out that transforms people and be financially successful. What's a strategy you could share that would empower entrepreneurs to make more money?
Well, I think the simplest strategy is to focus on the goal you want, but not the way you're going to achieve it. One of the places that we get hooked is we think we have to take certain steps. But if you just let go of all your beliefs about what it requires to get the goal, and you stay focused on the goal itself, then you're naturally drawn to the things that are going to be most helpful to you. So it's, again, I keep going back to the same thing. The more you get yourself out of the way, the more you let go of your preconceived notions, the more you're open to your clear reason and intuitive knowingness guiding you, as opposed to what you think is right or should be right or could be right, the more effective you are. And again, it's about staying focused on the goal itself, not all the reasons that you think all the steps you think you need to take and all the reasons why it's going to be hard.
Hale, what is your core purpose in life, and how has that informed your vision for your own business?
Well, my core purpose in life is twofold. One, it's to share that all your limitations, and I mean all of them, are made up, and that you can live a life, an unbound life, full of happiness and peace and joy and success and ease, free of limitations. And the second one is to be a living embodiment of that. And I've been very fortunate to live a life as a living embodiment of that for decades. And so I only teach that which I can do myself, that I can demonstrate myself. If I can't demonstrate it, I don't teach it. And
I want to stop there just for a moment, because that has never come up on the show, 2,300 episodes. And it's a principle that I live by. I only teach what I know.
Yes.
I don't teach anybody else's material. If you want to learn
Right.
Conscious Millionaire, come here. I'm the guy. But if you want to learn Tony Robbins, go to Tony Robbins. I'm not going to teach Tony Robbins.
Exactly.
And I think that a lot of people, and maybe I'm going to get, if you're listening today and this is a little in your face, that's okay. I just think maybe you came here so I could do this. Is that if you're trying to teach somebody else's material, it's not about the copyrights. It's not about stealing stuff. That's not what we're talking about. It's not authentically you. And it really shortchanges yourself and everybody else not to teach your truth.
Absolutely. But the thing is, you can be inspired by people like Tony Robbins or anyone. And if you follow a good teacher, you can actually start to share their knowledge once you've made it your own. Just don't do it before you've made it your own. If you're just a parrot, or you're just a tape recorder, then they're better off going to the source. But if you've made it your own, then I believe that you can be of service in sharing what you've learned from other people. We actually train facilitators, and they're sharing our body of knowledge without limitation. I don't ask for anything back from them. There are hundreds and hundreds of them all over the planet. And I don't say, well, now you need to give me a percentage. No, I just want you to go out and share it. The only thing I ask is that you acknowledge where it came from. But besides that, be my guest. So if you can share other people's knowledge as long as you acknowledge the source and you've made it your own. If you haven't made it your own, don't do it.
Well, I want to again mention your book, a new release of Happiness is Free. We're going to have a link to that on the show notes at consciousmillionaireshow.com. Just scroll down to the title of today's show, which of course is Happiness is Free. What is a book that you'd like to recommend?
Well, I'd like to recommend an upcoming book that I would recommend you pre-order, and that's Rhonda Byrne's newest release, which is called The Greatest Secret. And it's a book that will take what you've learned from The Secret and show you how what you learned from The Secret is just a stepping stone. Rhonda worked on this book for 14 years, and she worked with myself and many other teachers who are quoted in the book. And she discovered that you can go beyond what most of us believe is possible, not just in success in life, but in happiness and peace and joy, that you can actually reach a place where you no longer need to suffer. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you didn't suffer? That doesn't mean you won't experience setbacks or that you might not experience physical pain. I'm talking about pain. You can actually experience physical pain, and I have, without suffering. So this new book is a way to validate everything that was taught in the original Secret, but take it a quantum leap forward. So I would highly recommend Rhonda's new book, The Greatest Secret.
And again, we'll have a link to that on the show notes at consciousmillionaireshow.com, where you might be listening and going, oh my gosh, JV, I can't believe you have Hale on the show, the Sedona Method, you've been in The Secret. And you might be asking, how could I reach out? What is the best way for people to reach out to you?
The best way to reach out to me is either you can reach out through mail at sedona.com or just go to sedona.com. And then there's also a bunch of free resources. I have a Facebook page called the Sedona Method, and there are quotes from me and Lester Levinson, my mentor, new ones every day. I do Facebook Lives often. And then also our YouTube channel, the Sedona Method YouTube channel, has hundreds of free videos, including our hour and 8-minute long movie is available for free, the Letting Go movie.
So right now you might be jogging, you might be driving the car, and maybe you can't remember all that. So I'm going to make it easy for you. You can get all those links on the show notes at consciousmillionaireshow.com. Just scroll down to Happiness is Free. That's the title of the show. Go to the show note page, and we're going to have all the ways that you can get a hold of and connect with Hale Dwoskin. Now, this is something I never discuss with any of my guests before we get to this question, because I want to be surprised. What's your next summit? And what might be a challenge or an obstacle to get to that new mountaintop?
That's a good question. The next thing I'm looking for is, my next summit is to turn this over to a younger generation. I'm 66, which is not that old, but older than a lot of people. And I'd like to see people coming up now start with some of the things that I had. I actually started at a very young age. I started at age 20. I started with the Sedona Method at age 22. I started on the spiritual path as a teenager. But it was hard work. And I would like to see people who are young now be equipped with the tools that I amassed, not just me personally, but all the people who have come before, who've really gained a lot of wisdom, like the movie The Secret, The Greatest Secret. Jack Canfield has amazing stuff. A bunch of my friends in this self-help community have created a whole body of knowledge that I'd like to see it reach the next generation, so that they can start earlier than I did applying it in their lives. They don't have to go through all the missteps that I did.
Well, and I think that's such an important thing. You may not know, but I have a global nonprofit, the Conscious World Foundation. We work with 18 to 25-year-olds who want to be conscious leaders. I think we've never had a more conscious generation. And I think that it's up to all of us who can impart some wisdom, some structure, some pathways to allow them to move forward. And I think it actually can be, to use your phrase, a journey that has a lot less suffering to it.
Yes.
Because I think there's so many people out there who want a conscious world, who want a world in which we're all contributing our gifts and helping transform one another, and that we're all uplifting one another, and that we all can win. And yes, I think that the world is set up for wanting that kind of transition right now.
Oh, totally. It totally is. So for two reasons. One is, just as you said, us older people are starting, after knocking our head against the wall for decades, have finally recognized that we really need to go in this direction. But the young people coming in are much more open to this than we were. They're much more aware of this than we were, and they're already starting ahead of the game. So I think it's fabulous that the generations are coming together with this new outlook. And the other reason is that what we have been doing up until now is not working. Most people would agree. It's just not working. So we need to find a better way. not just for ourselves personally or us as a species, human species, but just for our whole planet. If we don't find a better way, it's not a pretty picture.
No, and folks, just so we correct a misconception, we aren't saving the planets; we're saving ourselves.
Right.
The planet will be just fine with
That's
or without
true.
it. Right.
It'd probably be better off without us.
Yeah, because we wouldn't be polluting it so much. Well,
Right,
our
right.
final and trademark question that I've asked now a couple of thousand times: what's the legacy that you want to leave, Hale?
Oh, I'd like to leave the world a way that they can discover the truth of who they are. Unqualified happiness, peace, joy, and an inner sense of ease and knowingness and trust in what they know to be true, and know that they can be safe and fully alive in life and fully engaged without stress or tension or struggle. So if I could leave that as a legacy, even for a handful of people, that would be great. But I'd like to see many people discover that for themselves.
Well, I hope that you discover that, and today's show was specifically meaningful to you. I look forward to connecting with you on our next Conscious Millionaire. And Hale, thank you so much for taking time to be our featured guest today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. It was fun. This is a fun interview.
Are you an entrepreneur or coach who's tired of feeling stuck or looking at your bank account and it just looks way too empty? The truth is, you were born to make millions. And I want to help you fill your bank account by gifting you my Born to Make Millions Empowerment Audio. Download the Born to Make Millions audio right now. Go to consciousmillionaire.com/make millions. That's right. Claim your financial freedom now by going to consciousmillionaire.com/make millions.
Thanks for listening to Conscious Millionaire Media Podcast Radio Network. The host, producer, and owner of the show, distributors, and broadcast media make no claims that the strategies and information discussed in the show will result in profits and may result in losses. The opinions and advice from the host guests do not necessarily represent those of the owner, staff, management, or broadcasters of the show. No legal, accounting, or financial or health advice is made in the show. You're advised to seek counsel on matters related to your business, financial investments, or other legal matters from licensed advisors. Always consult your physician or licensed health advisor prior to making any changes in your diet, exercise program, and implementing any health strategies or information discussed on the shows. Not all information provided may be suitable for your situation. As always, take full responsibility for the decisions and actions you take, including the responses that they create in your health.